While I originally was going to do my Kamen Rider Amazon review, I realized I was like halfway through the series and wouldn't have enough time to finish it before the next video, so I just threw a bunch of other video ideas together. One of them was mostly doing a countdown of the most overrated Rangers. Then I realized not that many of them were really that overrated, except for one. And that specific Ranger is the one I'm going to talk about. This is all about him, and how he does barely anything? It's kind of hard to explain. How should I explain this? Okay. Episode 23 of Jaka Dengeki Tai. So, in today's mystery thriller, the JAKQ, or Jaka, team are fighting against an atomic witch. They do well against the soldiers, but are easily defeated by the witch. Until this guy in a white suit with rainbow highlights saves them. With the speed of light. Man, this guy is already so awesome. I mean, we're not even seeing the entirety of him, but he's proven he can do well in a fight. Well, anyway, this monster just follows the Jaka into their headquarters. Meanwhile, this guy suddenly sits in their seat. Banba Soukichi.
ジャッカー電撃隊行動隊長バンバス総吉よろしく
行動隊長隊長はジョーカーさそうだお前など知らん
ジョーカー
私はニューヨーク本部科学技術庁長官になった長官にへえそりゃおめでとうございますバンバ宗吉君は若くてファイトのあるリーダーだこれからは打倒クライムの目的に向かって5人で力を合わせて戦ってもらいたいジャッカー諸君健闘を祈る
After proving Banba is worthy by recreating a new weapon that they're making for the series called the Big Bomber, they decide he's worthy. You know that atomic witch that snuck in earlier? She did it by phasing through the walls, and is using this ability to her advantage to find out where all the secret weapon spaces are for Jaka and destroy them all. And she destroys them all. And, of course, this means that she's going to be going for the Jaka headquarters next. However, after getting word that she's apparently posing as one of the doctors or nurses in the hospital, the Jaka are called there to check. Unfortunately, Banba Soukichi immediately figured it out and literally pulls the rug out from under her, revealing that she's a monster.
お化けだ
Anyway, Jaka fights, and then gets to the witch again. When that ultimate attack doesn't work, they create a bigger version of the miniature Big Bomber, and summon Big One so he can load up the cannon and fire it.
Big One! Big One! ジャッカー必殺武器ビッグボンバージャッカー
This is, unfortunately, what'll happen for the next 10 episodes. Banba will do this thing where he's his usual flamboyant, hyper-intelligent self around the monsters when he's not transformed, But when he suddenly is, he suddenly doesn't want to fight or use any of those skills to his potential, and instead only exists to load up and fire that cannon, and it repeats for 10 episodes, at least until the penultimate episode where he actually does fight, only to get his ass handed to him. And I think I should just take this moment of your time to tell you that Big One is supposed to have the powers of all 4 JACA members combined, those being atomic, electric, magnetic, and nuclear. And he wasn't using any of that. Things don't even change in the final episode. All he does is pose with the JACA members, and then tell the JACA members to fight, and when all their attacks obviously don't work, Big One tells them to use the big bomber. He loads up the cannon, fires it, the missile turns into a rat for some reason, and then makes the big boss explode. And that's it. That was really underwhelming. It would have been nice to see him, actually fight and not have to rely on that cannon all the time. But there are a couple moments in the Super Sentai series besides JACA Dengeki Tai where he actually did manage to be at least helpful, or hell, even fight, which I appreciated. Let's go with the 25th anniversary special, Gal Ranger vs. Super Sentai. 24 years after the fall of crime, Sokichi returned in Gal Ranger vs. Super Sentai as the leader of the Dream Sentai team. Using his skills as a master of disguise, he appears as a mysterious old man who helps the Gal Rangers learn from the other Super Sentai heroes of the past. He usually does not shout a Henshin phrase, but did shout Big One in Gal Ranger vs. Super Sentai. He also used an attack called Big One Finish, which is a spectrum flash with a big baton. Years later, Sokichi became co-leader alongside the Aqua Ranger in leading not only his team, but every single Sentai Ranger in existence against the Empire of Zanyak when it attacked the Earth in the Great Legend War. Both he and Tsuyoshi appeared to the Go Sagers when they became overwhelmed by Garmin to regroup them all with other Sentai heroes for the final assault. After fighting against hundreds of Gorman and their Gorman, however you pronounce that, commanders, Aqua Ranger noticed the fleet moving towards them. He gathered all the Rangers together and gave them the order to sacrifice their powers to wipe out the first invasion's armada. The powers of Big One are later used by Luca Milfi via the Ranger keys. I think Bomba has the same problem as Tommy Oliver, but the other way around. While Tommy Oliver is underrated, Bomba is overrated. He gets way too much praise for shit he doesn't do. Or, let's be fair, seldom if ever does. He's actually very flamboyant. He's very smart. He's able to figure out the villain's plans and immediately pull the rug out from under them and solve cases incredibly easily. He's also provided great mutual support for other Super Sentai teams or members, and that is awesome. However, he only does this when he isn't transformed. And I understand the Master of Disguise thing wouldn't work if he was transformed, but at least give him the ability to use his 4 powers. But considering Super Sentai has been on for this long, I guess we just have to wait for a little while and see.